Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 10 of the 1973 podcast. Very special episode. We got a special guest this week. One of our fans since day one wrote in last week. We read his question on the air, so we're gonna try this for a very special episode. So I'm here with the best tag team in the podcasting business. Uh, and card carrying member of Bruins Nation, Thomas, and Deep South Ed.
There you go.
We'll just we'll get rolling.
We're going six-man tag tonight.
Trios. It's a trios tag. I don't like the name. I like 6-man. We're going old school. So we're going Freebirds, or we going Road Warriors and Dusty, or we going?
Oh yeah, there you go. Road Warriors and Dusty.
All right, so we're gonna kick this off with our usual. We're gonna hit the mailbag, and Ed's gonna pull one out of his bag and read this email as we go.
All right, hey guys, big fan of the show. You guys are funny MFers. Question you keep mentioning the WCW Portuguese Phantom. Am I missing something? Can you elaborate? Chris in Dartmouth. Chris, man, thanks for the email and the question. Actually, we're not going to elaborate on this. It's going to stay the way it is. I'm just going to read this quote to you. Just when they think that they know the answers, I change the questions. Okay, Chris, I'm flipping it to you, brother.
Yeah, Tom, what do you got to add for the email? You got anything?
All I'm gonna say is, anyone who knows the Portuguese Phantom knows he's all about the money. He's holding out. He's got a hardline agent right now. We're negotiating to get him on, and it's just, I don't know. I have no faith in the system.
So from my dealings with the said Phantom, the legal department had to get involved, and we had to, shut talks down, and I had to go by proxy to, kind of keep the name off the press. So, we'll keep mentioning it, but we have to do it as the Phantom for legal reasons, just so that, we don't put any ripples in the water for future guests. So with that being said, we're going to segue into something that's hot right now. We're going to go with NHL playoffs. Big this week, a lot of drama as we speak. The Toronto Tampa Bay game is going on, and there was just a melee that happened. Stamkos and Austin Matthews got involved, and so we'll start with Chris. What do you think of your Bruins? What do you got for round one so far?
Well, first off, thanks for having me on, guys. I'm not quite the alumni of 1973, but I think I missed it by a couple of months or so,
That's all right.
But I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be here. So, yeah, I thought the series was going to be tough. A lot of people thought that Bruins were going to come in and take it real quick, 4 or 5. I always said it was going to be 6, They were the one of 2 teams, I think, this year that beat the Bruins 2 times, the other team being Ottawa. So, I figured it was going to be a tough series going in. They have that great first line that they got going. It's just that whole thing with Paul Maurice coming out and talking about how he was going to dismantle the Bruins. Maybe he had a good game plan going on. I don't want to say that Montgomery was overcoached in the first couple of games or so, but I'm glad that they came back last night and took over the series. I think they reestablished themselves. They needed that win last night after all those question marks. It's going to be a tough series. I still think it's going to go 6. I see Florida possibly win another game, but of course I got my Bruins hopefully coming on top,
We couldn't tell from the backdrop.
Yeah.
Right?
Don't be such a homer.
Never that. Come on, look what I'm wearing. I mean, I had to,
Nice.
Sorry about that.
I like this guy.
I had to express my true colors for a minute. I don't know what that was doing on me.
That's awesome. A little Hulk Hogan American Made stuff going on
Absolutely.
there. So we'll kick it off to another Con-Cambrian member of Bruins Nation, Jeremy Jacobs Jr., Thomas Brown. What do you got?
By the way, Chris, if I'm the president, Chris, you are now vice president of the nation.
Thank you. Thank you.
And also a client.
Yes. Hey, I think it's been a great series. I got to give credit where credit is due. Florida came out and they played their game planning the other night. They played well. They deserve to win that second game. Having said that, I think the Bruins may have needed that game to kind of get them. They seem to play their game more in Game 3, and it seemed like they got better as Game 3 went on. And I think hopefully that's going to carry on in the rest of the series. All depends now. I guess Allmark may be nursing a little bit of an injury, so I don't know. They aren't saying if he's going to play tomorrow or not, but I think they should play Swayman anyway. Just give Allmark a day off. I think Swayman's a good 1A, to be honest with you. I mean, I like Allmark too, but I think Breeze are going to take control starting tomorrow.
What do you think, Ed?
I mean, let's just be honest here. The Bruins are just a better team. Like, I mean, you can't deny that fact. I mean, they really are the better team. I think that probably, the loss that they have. I mean, look, I mean, when it's hitting the medium waves down here in the old deep south, about that there's like a virus, like cold/flu-like symptoms going through the team, and I'm hearing it down here. Obviously, it's a big deal. So, I think that, typical kind of like cold/sinus infection, that type of stuff. I mean, it takes about 72 hours to bounce back. So, that's my thought. They're going to win. They're going to win the series, period.
I agree with you guys. It's anything less, like I said, anything less than a Stanley Cup's a letdown for that team for the season that they had. But I thought watching Game 3 that Florida didn't push back at all. I mean, there was no sandpaper in that game. It was like they announced right before the game starts that Krejci's not going to be in the lineup. So you would think, here you go, you already took, a little bit of steam off the team, and they didn't play with any like grit. I'm talking about Florida at all. There was no pushback. There was no like what they had in Game 2. There was nothing there. It was weird how it was. You had a little bit of momentum, and where was it? It was just tough if you're a Panthers fan. It was tough to watch the whole thing play out. I mean, they pretty much, the Bruins set the tempo of the game. There was no like anything, not a scrum, not gloves in the face, not end of the game shenanigans, nothing. So if that's how they're going to play the rest of the series, they might as well just roll it up and put it away, because that's not what won them Game 2. So I just don't get the vibe at all of what they were trying to accomplish. But there's a couple of, I'm surprised, not to shift too far away from the Bruins series, but the Kings series, they're up 2-1 in the series, and I was shitting on them last week when I said that I wasn't impressed by them. But I mean, if they can knock out Edmonton some way somehow, that's pretty impressive. I don't know how far they'll get after that, but thoughts on the Kings being up in this series?
I'm shocked. I really am shocked. I mean, Oilers really just, I did get to see them play a couple times this year on TV. They just looked like that they were a step above the Kings, just especially on paper. But, look, it's playoff hockey. Anything can happen in playoff hockey. I mean, so, you never can tell. That's, to be super cliche about it. I mean, that's why they play the game, right?
Yeah, so that is. Go ahead, Tom.
I think, to be honest with you, I hate to say it, but Edmonton's soft. They're not built for the playoffs. They've got a ton of skill, but there's all you have to do is the Kings are showing you that you lay a body on them guys, and you can control McDavid and Draisaitl. Those other guys, they're going to beat you once in a while with a goal or two, but they're not deep. They're not deep, and they're not physical enough to last longer in the playoffs.
Yeah, very good statement. I mean, I think that's stating the obvious. I mean, if you're a young team like Colorado was last year, until you win the whole thing and make some kind of name for yourself, you're always going to be like a what if. Chris, what do you got for that Kings series?
Yeah, no, I was just thinking, like, my son, probably just like most kids, huge Connor McDavid fan, right? It's his first that he's seen like the most unbelievable NHL player come up and do the moves and the skate the way he does. And I told him before the series started, I'm like, listen, the Kings got knocked out by the Oilers last year, it took 7 games. I said,
Yeah,
don't be surprised if the Kings come in. They're looking for revenge, right? They want to come back. They want to win this more than anything right now. So,
yeah.
Mick Seidel, whatever they called him to, like, it takes a lot to carry a whole team like that. You know what I mean? So I would not be surprised. I told him from day one, I wouldn't be surprised the Kings take it in 7. So it could go either way. I heard, like Tom said, that they're looking kind of soft.
Yeah, and like I said, until you get over that hump of whatever it is, you can do whatever you want in the regular season, but I mean, history says that it's not always, the best team wins. On paper, it's a grind. It's the injury bug. It's banged up, playing through it or whatever. So you really get to see the difference between see Victor Hedman was out, he's back in. Look at Ekblad. I was having a conversation with the Phantom. The guy's not a warrior. Not a warrior. You're supposed to be a stud. Now's your time to prove it. Knock the Bruins out and put a little allure in your your superstar status. So we'll move on. We'll talk. I guess we'll talk Tampa Bay and Leafs. I thought it was going to be a really good series and have not been disappointed. High scoring, lots of drama, media drama, all kinds of stuff when Toronto lost the other game. Here we go again. People are already burning their Leafs jerseys and throwing away their season tickets. And, it's been a fun series to watch. I mean, it's going on as we speak, a little bit of a late start. So, Tom, what do you think?
Oh, it's been a great series. Been a lot of nastiness, but Toronto, they're one of those teams that it's all in their head, and they're fine if they get a lead, if they come out and take the lead early. But I think they put so much pressure on themselves that if I think they have a hard time coming from behind. There's just so much pressure on them, and then that's when they start making stupid mistakes. And I mean, they tied the game up tonight, but just watching the game, it was like with 4 minutes left in the game, they only had 20 shots on net. I mean, with that offensive team to only have 20 shots on net. Now, granted, give Tampa Bay some credit for the defense they're playing, but it just, to me, it's all in Toronto's head, and the goaltending is shaky as hell. Samsonov he's been shaky at best in this series. I mean, he played one good game, but I have no faith in him.
Well, hey, Thomas, I'm going to ask you this question. If you remember correctly, I mean, Bruins back in the late 80s and all through the 90s, I mean, they always were out and shooting everybody. And if I remember correctly, they weren't very good back in those days, just for the record, just saying.
They were?
They were not. N-O-T, not.
Make sure you put that all in caps, Ed. One more time.
Not to be mistaken for a not S-N-K-N-O-T, but a not. Okay.
Right, not. In your head.
That's right. There are some knots in my head. Yes, I have had some things knock some sense and in and out. Now I think it's been a great. I think it's been a great series. Honestly, it's I mean, honestly, very entertaining. I did think that that game 2. I mean, it was a blowout. I mean, Tampa just looked like they couldn't play themselves out of a paper bag.
Yeah.
The other night.
Chris.
Yeah, I mean, Samsonov needs to keep him in it, and I'll make it short and sweet. 6 first-round exits for the Leafs, so they really need. You know what I mean? I mean, that's it.
Hey, good call. I like it.
Yeah.
Chris, I got a question for Chris. Do you think that Bunting is getting the reputation of Marchand, where he's getting suspended for things that not necessarily warrant or suspension, but because of his name, and he's getting a reputation for whining? Do you think this is he's getting a reputation now?
I mean, it's gonna happen. Yeah, just there's things that I've seen. Marchand possibly shouldn't have gotten suspended for or fined for, and but it comes with the name. Yeah, that's gonna happen. Even though this series, it's really emotional, right? Everybody's into it. Everybody's full, so things are gonna fly. Things are gonna happen. So agreed.
Boys will be boys, man.
Yeah, you can't beat that intensity of the playoffs. You have to.
That's right, man.
I mean, it's the Claude Lemieux type. Whether you hate him, whether you like him, the guy didn't do shit during the regular season. You get that guy in the playoffs, he's like a totally different player. And when you can elevate like that, that's
That's huge.
that's a whole nother level. Staying on the playoffs, we'll go Rangers in New Jersey. Rangers are up 2-0. I didn't see that going any other way. There hasn't been like that much drama coming out of it. The Rangers are just rolling right now. I thought that was a good, matchup for them for multiple different reasons. We talked about that last week, but as far as that series goes, I haven't watched too much of it. That's been more of a highlight type series for me. But Tom, thoughts on that series?
New Jersey's just a young team. Give them a couple of years. I think the Rangers are a train. That's who I think the Bruins are going to end up playing them in the. That's who I'd pick the Bees to play in the conference finals. And I just think Shesterkin is just tough. And it seems like New Jersey may be panicking a little bit. They played a different goalie tonight, and I'll be honest, I've never heard of the guy, Schmid or something like that. I don't even know the guy, but he started for them tonight. So
yeah, Schmid is mid.
Yeah.
Chris, what do you got on that series? Got anything?
Yeah, I mean, the Devils a great young team, like I said, just the inexperience, I guess, is showing, they were, I believe, top 10 goals allowed on the PK, but they were also goals against on the power play were really well. So like they need to, get on that power play and stay off the penalty kill. But the Rangers team, I mean, I wish my NHL fantasy team I drafted was as good as what their lineup is. So it's going to be tough for them to do anything against them. So I see it exactly the same way as it's going. It'll be a pretty easy move to the next round for them.
Yeah, Ed.
Yeah, I haven't really seen too much of it. I mean, like yourself, Andy. I mean, just really mostly highlights on me. But I will say that just the things that I have seen is that it just seems to me like the Rangers they're just much more physical. And what I mean by that is just like it just looks like that they're just walking in on Jersey. It doesn't look like that Jersey's putting up much of a fight and kind of getting in their face and playing like that true playoff hockey. I mean, again, I can only base that off the highlights that I've seen. So I mean, I could be completely wrong about that.
Well, that if you look at the formula for most of the dynasties that have won multiple cups, with it seems to be that the way the formula works is you get two high profile forwards and a defenseman. You got the Duncan Keith, the Patrick Kane, the Toes. Then it's that the Kucherov, Stamkos, Hedman. You see a trend with that. And
yep.
I mean, now that the Rangers have Trouba and they're heavy on the front end, so it could parlay into something. You know what I mean? So it'll be fun to watch as we roll along. I don't want to get caught up on too many series for too long because we got some other ones to cover. The Minnesota series with Dallas. Now there's something that I didn't see Minnesota being this strong in that series, but a little drama at the end of game one kind of kicked it off. You never know, little things like that turn tides in series. So some teams can capitalize on it, other teams fold, and that I didn't have any interest in watching that series, but when I saw the Dumba hit, I was like, well, something's going to happen out of this, and it kind of did. So they've got momentum, and I'm surprised with Minnesota. But like I said, I didn't have a lot of input on that series because it was kind of like a blast series for me to watch. But Tom, you got anything on that?
Whoever wins the series, it's going to be a battle of attrition. They're just beating the hell out of each other, and I don't know who. I don't really know who they play in the next round, who they'll play in the next round. Whoever wins, but I think they're going to be sore. They're going to be a lot of ice baths after this series. But the only thing I even question is Minnesota with the goalie. I was shocked the other night that they played Fleury. Don't get me wrong, I love Fleury, but Gustafsson, you gotta go with the hot hand. He's been phenomenal all season.
Yeah. Chris, what do you got on this Minnesota series?
Yeah, same point with Tom. I was shocked about that. You got Fleury. I don't know if the coach was trying to go, make Fleury, because he was trying to go for the third most wins in playoff history. I don't know if that had anything to do with it. I hope it didn't. But you go with that hot goalie. Gustafsson looked good first game. Why would you? We just talked about that before. Given rest, this is playoff time. Again, I agree with what Tom had said before about bringing Swayman possibly in, but like, go with your number one guy for now. You know what I mean? If it starts to get shaky, then, so I was surprised to see that.
Ed?
I'm gonna kind of go a little bit different, just kind of on that series. I mean, I just want to talk a little about that hit. I, I, the only problem I had with that hit, it's going to be kind of a little bit of a social commentary on hitting. I thought the hit was a little bit late. I didn't think it was dirty. I didn't think that it was something that would warrant anything like what they did during the broadcast. Like, they just took forever pulling that through the broadcast. I mean, like, look, it wasn't a dirty hit. It was late. Give him the 2. Get him in the box. Like, that was it. Like, you can't make it. You can't make it out to be this big thing. Like, stop trying to be like the NFL. You're not. So stop. That's kind of my take. And I thought it. That certainly. To kind of swing it back. I really felt like that brought a lot of life to that series.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was one of the things that happened that night that was the most talked about. So yeah, I mean, it is a momentum thing. It does generate some media, and you never know how a coach can parlay the media into their advantage or disadvantage. So who knows? Just a quick update: the Leafs in Tampa Bay are in overtime right now, tied at 3. But let's talk about the Vegas series. Not a big shocker for me that they're up 2-1. It's nice to see an expansion team that young in the playoffs, but I don't know if it's something that it'll carry weight this year. But who knows? What do you think, Tom?
I just don't understand why Vegas hasn't played quick. I mean, Brousseau might win them the series, but he doesn't have enough games under his belt. I mean, he's played like 13, 14 games, and to not play quick. I mean, if you look at the stats, it's a no-brainer. You need to play quick, but I mean,
you got to know who the coach is too, right?
Yeah.
Bruins Nation.
Yes, sir.
Chris, thoughts on that series?
I think Vegas is going to win the series.
Yeah, I think Vegas will ultimately take it. I agree. I like to see a little bit more out of Jack Eichel, being his first playoffs in his 8 years being in the NHL. The Jets are just they've had a pretty inconsistent year, but you just never know what Hellebuck and that he can steal a game. So
yeah,
it should be good, but I think Vegas is going to take it.
Yeah, Ed, thoughts on that series?
I really haven't watched much about it, other than I know that Vegas is up 2-1. I just think that Vegas is just a good team, and it's playoff hockey.
It's tough right now because you got like 4 games on a night, and you got too early and too late. And what it's been for me, at least, is by the time I get a chance to watch it, I already missed the first period. I'll watch the second, the third of the game that I want to watch. I won't flip back and forth because I watch it on Sportsnet, so I'll catch the highlights as they happen. I steer away from any of the American broadcasting because it's lame compared to the Canadian broadcasting. And once the late game starts, I'm in for maybe a period, and then it's like lights out after that. If it's a snooze fest, go ahead, Chris.
You're not talking bad about Jack Edwards, are you now?
Listen, even I stream almost everything now, so it's like I get.
Listen, I'm waiting for the second round, so I have to listen to him. Okay, and that's a Bruins fan.
I swear to God, he's had a stroke somewhere along the line. He's like slurring his words so bad now.
See, I'm going to play devil's advocate because me and the Phantom always talk about this. See, I like Jack Edwards. I'm going to tell you why. Because being a wrestling fan, he calls a hockey game like it's a wrestling thing. Like it's Raw. So
the King Lawler right there.
Yeah, I get it. I think I know a lot of Bruins fans that hate him, but as far as for me, he's very entertaining. But I got no skins in the game with him either. So I mean, if he was calling a Flyers game, who knows? I probably want to strangle him too. But so that's pretty much we covered the West.
Hey, should we bring back? Should we? Because Bill Clement's still alive, right?
Yeah, he just went in the Hockey Hall of Fame as a broadcaster.
Well, I mean, what about bringing Gary Thorne and Bill Clement back?
Yeah, you're dating yourself on that. That's Sports Channel.
Well, yeah. Hey, funny story. I'm an old guy, just so you know. I don't know if you got that memo.
Yeah.
just so you
Speaking
know.
of that's the Whalers hat is Sports Channel. If you had Sports Channel growing up, you had the Whalers. So,
Yep.
how about the Avs and the Kraken? Tied at 1 as we speak. I mean, that
Shocked.
yeah, I'm shocked too. I
Shocked.
mean,
Shocked.
it is Landeskog that much of a factor that's he's the driving force. I mean, in that locker room, is he the guy that gets them over the hump? Is he the that good of a leader or what? What do you think?
Between that and the shaky goaltending, and Georgiev has been horrible. So he's just very inconsistent. I think that's what's going to kill them. Between the two factors, him and Landeskog being out, I think that's going to end up killing them in the playoffs.
From being a lifetime Flyers fan in the playoffs and everything, once you start, no matter what series it is, Lions or whatever, once you start flip-flopping goalies in the playoffs, that's a death sentence for a series. You got to ride a guy. You got to stick with him, and good or bad or indifferent, you got to ride him. Once you start interchanging parts, that's a recipe for disaster. It never works, but Ed, I know you like the Avs, so
I do. I'm just shocked. I mean, as fast and skilled and physical as they are, to have that, I'm just shocked. And I think that it's just one of those things where, I mean, it's kind of one of those things. I mean, could it? I'm asking the question. I mean, could it be like they're almost playing down to the talent of the team that they're playing? And it's just like.
I saw it today at a youth hockey level. I mean, you got an absolute wagon of a team, and you're actually fighting around out there instead of just dropping the hammer. Yeah. We want the bionic elbow and the 3 count. We don't want a 60-minute match.
No.
That's what we're looking for. We're not looking for a lot. So we got one more series to cover, and then we'll kind of start winding things up for this week, but we saved the Carolina Islanders series for last. What do you think? The Islanders just blew them out the other day. So, thoughts, Tom?
Well, I picked the Islanders to upset Carolina, and I'm going to stay with it because Sorokin hasn't played well really this series yet, and I think he's going to end up stealing a couple games somewhere down the line. And I think the injuries to Carolina's the depth on the forward line now with the 2 guys out, I think that's going to come back and haunt them. I'm going to still stick with with the Islanders, but I think it'll go 7 games.
Rod Brindamore had some comments for the media the other day about some stuff that he saw that he believes that they let go. And hey, I got to respect stuff like that, because not because he played for the Flyers, but anybody that played and they played hard like he did, they're not looking for anything soft. They're looking for, he's not going to call somebody out if it wasn't dirty. So he must have saw something, and he was all over the refs about it. So I like those little stories within the game. So good series to watch. I mean, I haven't had too much time to devote to it because it's on the same night usually as the Bruins series. So we'll see how that unfolds. Ed, what do you got in that Carolina series?
I knew that. I think that when we talked about this last week, I thought that the Islanders were going to play them hard, which they have. But I still think that, Carolina is just a better team.
Yeah.
And I really haven't watched a lot. I really haven't watched a lot of it either, man. It's, a lot of series to maintain. So,
Chris,
just being.
Yeah. Islanders, to me, most boring team in hockey, right? They got that defense, that 1-1-3 that they play trap, it shuts teams down. But other than Brasal's offense, it's like they just don't have much. Even without, Svechnikov and Pacioretty, I still think Carolina is going to come up on top. Absolutely.
Yeah. And what's not to say that if they get maybe the next round, they'll get somebody back, and if they make it, to the conference finals, they might have everybody back. So who knows? I mean, that was my pick to come out of the East and maybe win the whole thing. So we'll see what how that all unfolds. But it'll be easier to watch the next series because you pretty much have an early game, a late game, and then the next night another early game, and another late game, and then it'll be easier to watch more stuff live. So with that being said, Tom, nice shirt. We're gonna give a shout out, right?
Yes.
Our buddy, I'll let you do it.
Brock Street Brewery.
Yeah,
Scotty
buddy.
Peppin. If
Yeah.
anyone around here or anyone listening up in Canada, if you're ever in Whitby, Ontario, head up to Brock Street Brewery. They're a 3-floor, I believe it's 3-floor brewery. They have a banquet hall, an on-site restaurant, and they have a members lounge upstairs. They've got a ton of beers, IPAs, ales, lagers, stouts, and the vodkas, hard seltzers. Scotty was nice enough to send me one right here. Gave me a T-shirt. I appreciate it.
Yep. Yeah, our buddy Scott, we grew up with him. We give a shout out to him all the time. He's a great guy. He's up there doing his thing, and we see him, and I know he watches the podcast. So I told him we shout out every week, and he sent us some swag. So he gave me a hat. I showed it a couple weeks ago. So Tom, album of the week. What do you got?
Yes, I am going 2 weeks in a row. Going with the Beastie Boys. Paul's Boutique.
Nice.
This came out in 1989. This is a second edition, so it's actually the one I have isn't from 89. But favorite songs from that thing: "Hey Ladies," "High Plains Drifter" is probably my most underrated song off that album. "Looking Down the Barrel of a Gun" and "Shadrach." Those are my favorite ones.
That's a great album. Very underrated as Beastie Boys albums go. That was the one that kind of everybody forgets about in between "License to Ill" and "Check Your Head." Great songs on there. "Shake Your Rump." That's a going out song right there. Heard that at Lupo's many times. "Hey Ladies" is on that. That is a great tune. They caught all kinds of flack for that because of the terminology. They revised good stuff. That's when the Beastie Boys were at pretty much their apex as they went forward for like the next 2 to 3 albums after that. So Ed, thoughts on that album?
I mean, I think it definitely is a sleeper album for sure. Now, I will say though, I mean, it was the springboard album,
Yeah,
I mean, it was like that one, and I agree with you wholeheartedly on that one, man.
Yeah.
And
that's a party album right there.
Breastfeeding maybe, so we want to talk a little bit of Limp Bizkit or something. I'm all for it.
Dude, he's calling us old, bro. Why are you calling us old, man?
Never. Listen here. I might be a little bit younger, but I'm old school at heart. All right, that's why I watch you guys.
That's okay.
I appreciate everything you guys do on here, and thanks for inviting me. Definitely.
Chris, last episode you're gonna be on after you keep talking like that. If we're old, we're gonna blackball you right off this episode when you watch it. Or it's gonna be pixelated like Flair's WCW belt on WWF TV. But with that being said, I think we only got a couple minutes left. I'm gonna wrap it up. Tom, shout outs for the week. Any
I want to shout out Chris. Thanks for watching, and it was fun having you on, man. Good times. Thank you.
Feedback for more guests. We got a couple of people that have asked me probably since like the first couple episodes to be on, and we put Chris on because he was the first person I talked to. He's always promoting the podcast. We can't ask for more than that. I mean, we're 3 guys on pretty much rubbing nickels together, so it's it's
I'm
fun.
couch fishing.
Yeah, couch fishing. Yeah.
I'm recycling this later.
Nice, excellent. All right.
It's only good in Canada.
Lunes.
Yeah. So it was great having Chris on. I mean, it was a lot of fun. I mean, the half an hour goes by fast. I mean, we got a lot of stuff that that we talk about, and as the playoffs roll along, we'll keep talking about that. We like to get our wrestling talking. Tom likes to get his baseball and football stuff in. Ed too. We'll get to that. I mean, the drafts are coming up for the NHL, the lottery, all that stuff. The Connor Bedard watch. We're all over it, and I want to say thanks again, Chris, for always pumping tires and laughing with us, and keep your comments coming, and maybe we'll get you on again. And as we get going, we won't do it every week, so it gets stale. Some of the people that want to be on, I think it's a one and done, but we'll get some people on, and we want to just say thanks for everybody to support the channel and keep us going.
Absolutely. I really appreciate you guys having me on. Next time I'll come on, I'll have my 1973 podcast shirt. I won't rip it off though, I promise. We'll keep it on nice and fresh.
All right, that's cool. That's cool. So for everybody this week, that was episode 10, very special episode with our good buddy Chris right below me. And
he's right below you, huh?
Yeah, right below me. He's right here. He's right down here. Down where? Down here.
Right. I'll take it.
We'll see you guys next week, episode 11. Later.